Alright guys, TacticalRab here, and I hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Big Rostermania questions continue going into the Esports World Cup, especially on what Atlanta FaZe might potentially do if the World Cup does not go to plan, as did the World Championship. Ghosty spotted over the last couple of days, playing with aBeZy in some practice matches. Some 8s going down, some ranked play going down, potentially getting a bit friendly with aBeZy going into next season. Does this mean anything with regard to what FaZe might potentially do, given the big rumour has been that if FaZe are going to make a change, they should potentially target the number 1 AR that isn't on a top 4 team? That man, no doubt, is Ghosty. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. A few very interesting stats to go through first of all. This is Renkor's numbers last year. So Spanish player on the European Challenger scene. We saw what Super managed to accomplish. And there's players like Super. There's players like Renkor that are, you know, I would say very close to, if not undoubtedly better than some of the players on, shall we say, the Miami Heretics. You can look at, MettalZ really turned up at the end of the season, was great at the start as well. ReeaL was good and certainly improved their team, but I feel like he wasn't as good as maybe I expected him to be towards the end of the season. Lucky is good, but possibly replaceable. And you can argue the same for Vikul, but I think that Vikul's quite an important asset to that team, especially in terms of communication and stuff like that. But there is still a question, if Miami really want to go next level, they might need to try and upgrade their slaying power somewhat. That's when guys like Super, that's when guys like Renkor might come into the conversation, because both of them had really good years in Modern Warfare 3 challenges. These, though, are some scrim set results, because over the last couple of days, we have seen multiple teams get back into practice. Not every team is even practicing yet, and they probably won't for a good few days to come. But the Ravens played up against the Stallions last night, and actually, the FaZe Clan Black team did a number on the Carolina roster. Map 1, they won 250 to 143. This has been a pretty good map in the scrims so far, actually, for Ravens. Beans goes 38 in 20, so, you know, pretty impressive results. However, it is interesting just to note the way the rest of the scrim went, especially the likes of, let's say, this Vista, where they just basically slammed them. 250 to 96, this one was in the end. TJ had a rough one, 10 in 26. Obviously, Gwyn, Beans, and Felony, that's your team of 4. And yeah, this Brack redemption arc is pretty cool to see, 30 and 17. Feel like Brack as a player, of course, he's been in the league before, a player that I'm semi-surprised didn't really get looked at much this season, because many of the other FaZe Black players did. Brack didn't really, just been grinding out there in challenges, and maybe it's going to pay off here, right? Because they are in a group that is potentially achievable, the FaZe Clan Black roster. They would be, you know, how good would they be if they were in the league this entire season? That's a question. Would they have made champs? No, not as far as I'm concerned. But still, they're obviously a solid roster, and it's going to be exciting to see really how these challenger teams are going to fare against the pro teams, especially because the challenger teams are going to be grinding really hard, and we're seeing that, I think, in some of the results that we have seen so far. And in the controls, 2 of these went to Stallions, 1 of these went to Ravens. So in the end, it was a close scrim set, absolutely, but it was 5-3 in favour of the FaZe Clan Black team at the end of it. So nothing too much crazy to read into, but just to show that Stallions, or FaZe Clan Black, they can't represent FaZe Clan Black because there's another FaZe team in the tournament, they are looking good. And Ravens, after their first couple of days of scrims, looking kind of unbelievable. It's now not looking quite the same way. And even Rocker, they played a brief scrim set last night as well. They got the leg up on Ravens again. They did win the Karachi Ravens 250 to 179, but apart from that, it was the Rocker getting the job done. For example, this one here on the sub base, 250 to 207. Pretty good production across the board here as well, actually, from the Rocker guys. Diamond Con, Linz, Estriel, Accuracy, of course. That's the team of 4 there. I kind of like this team, to be honest, in the way that it's currently looking. This was another one here on the Rio, for example, where Estriel goes 35 and 28. Linz drops 30 as well. And, you know, I think that's the SMG duo that I'm really looking for to potentially take a step up here, because, you know, Estriel 35 and 28, Linz 30 and 30. That's pretty much exactly what you're going to want from your SMG duo, and I like this quite significantly more than I did the Lens Standy duo. And that's why I think that group is pretty scary, really. The Cloud9, Gentlemates are there as well, but it's Cloud9, Seattle Surge, G2, right? Because we're still calling them Rocket, but these guys are going to be representing G2 Esports at the World Cup in a couple of weekends' time. This, though, is Boston. The first look really at Boston in this off-season. Well, it's not really an off-season period in some respects because all these teams are at the Esports World Cup. But Boston were playing Vegas. So what's going on? Are Vegas regressed a little bit, or are Boston actually kind of good? What's happening here? So this new Boston team has been formed. Of course, this is the roster of Cammy, Awakening, Snoopy, and Purge. And this was a scrim they played, let's say, on the Rio, 250 to 139. And eventually, over the 6 maps they played, they actually won 6-2 over Vegas. They eventually lost the Vista, but then they won all 3 of the control maps here. And a couple of them they absolutely smoked Vegas on, such as, a 3-0 on the Invasion, and then a 3-0 actually on the Karachi as well. This one was actually not close at all. We've got, Awakening 20-6 here. So what do we think about this new Boston squad? How are they getting on? Now, even to be fair, last year's Boston squad that were terrible, there were rumors that that roster had effectively been playing quite well in scrims, but wasn't really been able to translate it. Now, that's a story as old as time, obviously. So I don't know whether the same could apply to this Boston team, where actually they are like pretty good in scrims, but are they going to be able to execute and deliver? But also, let's not forget, last year's Boston team, it was very different to this team before, but last year's Boston roster, it wasn't the respawns that were letting them down really, right? It was their awful search and destroy. So that is still the key factor at play for this new Boston roster. But if this team is as good as they've looked in scrims, at least in this scrim set, compared to a Vegas team that are not going to be phenomenal, but likely to be reasonably competitive, that is a good sign for Boston. But is this team still going to be good enough to achieve what they want to achieve next season? That is still a matter for debate. And just one more update here. Vegas actually played the Omits team and they won this 3-1, including beating them on the 6-star 250 to 87. So yeah, definitely. So this is the Omit Brooklyn team that's over there in Group A. So definitely Vegas actually going to play this team right at the World Cup. So I guess there just aren't too many teams to scrim right now. So you might as well scrim even the teams that you're going to play at the event. But yeah, this was very impressive. So it goes to show that maybe Boston are actually kind of legit. But let's talk about some Rostermania stuff, because as Ghosty says, well, he doesn't really say much, but he definitely responds to the fact that he's in Group D with Falcons, Law, and of course Atlanta FaZe. Now, one of the stories that I don't think I mentioned yesterday was just the possibility of the fact that Ghosty will be playing against FaZe likely in the groups. I mean, it's not impossible that they could avoid each other depending how things go if one of these teams bombs out, but it's very likely that both of these teams will play each other in the group stages at some point. FaZe play Falcons in the first round, Thieves play Law. If they both win, they'll play each other, etc., etc. And we always saw last season when like Pridge would play OpTic, or when like HyDra would play OpTic this year, or when Scrappy would play OpTic this year, there was often a talking point, wow, how's Scrappy going to do against OpTic? Is he going to show them like they need him or whatever? Of course, as the season progressed, that was not the case. But in this situation, let's say 100T play FaZe. Ghosty comes out, slaps his meat on the table, and just, obliterates FaZe. Is that not a bit of a statement for Ghosty to say, hey, if you guys are making a change, maybe come knocking at my door? So obviously there's been speculation about Ghosty and the fact that he might potentially go to FaZe, just because this is what we have seen for the last several years, is that when FaZe hit an off-season after not doing so well, they tend to blow it up, right? They usually change out their 4th player. This year, of course, there's other questions as well, whether Cellium would even stay in this potential eventuality, but whatever. Let's just assume that Simp aBeZy stay and probably Cellium stays, and they're going to change out their 4th again. I mean, I feel like if they actually do this, they have to look deeper FaZe and realize that there are more issues than just their 4th player. That's why, I've got my questions on what they're actually going to do this offseason, to be fair, and I think that it depends somewhat on the World Cup, but I also think that after the World Championship, their mind may well have been made up in terms of what they want to do in a few weeks' time, because, I'm not seeing Drazah anywhere in this type of play, but they swapped out RCTs for Slasher, they swapped out Slasher for Drazah, and now maybe this year, what they'll look for is the best potential AR on the market. And even though Nadeshot said the other day, if we sell Ghosty to FaZe, or if we let Ghosty go to FaZe, we're going to lose all our fans, if Ghosty gets the FaZe offer, if he wants to go to FaZe, and if FaZe are offering money to get Ghosty, what are you going to do as Thieves? You're going to force him to stay against his will? That never usually ends well. So this is why this yesterday from Ghosty ranked with aBeZy and Ashley Wren. Now, Ashley, of course, is aBeZy's girlfriend, and the theory goes that some of the girlfriend-related stuff has been the crux of some of the problems behind this FaZe team. Of course, we know about the Drazah stuff, and look, then they go on to play 8s later in the day. So just thought this was interesting to note, right? Because we saw Ghosty, I think, playing and interacting with Simp just the other day. Now we're seeing him playing ranked with aBeZy, and you gotta think, right? You gotta think about what this might potentially mean for the off-season. So, a couple of quick clips to share.
I reloaded. One sec. Let me reload. I have no ammo. I have no ammo.
On. Laying down that one more.
We're just gonna flood this, bro. We can win off this.
Yep.
Multiple. We don't win anymore.
I got 2. My God, they're all weak. You're by yourself. Stay alive.
By myself? Okay.
Stay alive.
I'm alive.
I'm coming.
Hey, TK, 5, 6, 9, 6, 9.
Yeah, I got you.
I got ammo again.
I have your help. I'm here. I have the push.
They're TKing again, bro. They're fucking tweaking. Bro, we don't win. It's close. We got this, bro.
Oh, shit.
I got the free fire. I got next. Go new.
I'm going now.
I'm gonna leave this. I killed that guy. I'm leaving it, bro.
I see nothing on you.
Nothing. I've all your mid. Just look their side. Just hard hold their side. I've all your mid. I've already pushed. Lick.
Good. Holy shit.
Oh my fucking God.
Love you. Let's go.
Oh my God, Tyler. That was insane.
Dude.
So do you think this theory is right about the idea that, you know, if FaZe, let's say, don't win the World Cup, then what are they going to do with Drazah? I think this is kind of the key point. Like, if you're FaZe, if you win the World Cup, you might well have enough of a redemption arc to want to keep the roster after the World Championship anyway. But if they don't win the World Cup, which they're not favoured to do at all, then I think it probably is time to blow it up if you're FaZe. But what they do, obviously that's a question. Ghosty is certainly in the conversation over there, but whether that actually happens or not is another question entirely. Just wanted to quickly mention, because we talked about Illy the other day, on what he might do or what they might do for Illy, because let's say you are Thieves and you're going to keep Ghosty and FaZe aren't going to get him. There's going to be no problems at all on that front. What do you do alongside Ghosty? Because I think Nastie's a very solid player. Do I think you can upgrade on him? Probably yes. I think they'll think about it for sure. So where do you go? You could get a slasher. That's an option. I actually really like that option personally. You could even look at a guy like a Tatch. Illy, though, is a player to consider. The thing for Illy is that, unfortunately, he just never seems to say anything. I don't really understand this whole idea from Illy that he just goes complete radio silence, doesn't stream, doesn't say anything. So we have real no idea for Illy, like what he's going through, whether he's okay, whether he's recovered well or whatever, and whether he's ready to go for next season. So hopefully he is, but I do think that if you're, let's say you're Thieves, and Ghosty either leaves or he stays, Illy's a player to look at for sure. And also, if let's say Ghosty was to go to FaZe and Drazah was to go, like where does Drazah end up? Like does he end up back on Thieves? Because he's not going to go to OpTic Drazah, he's not going to go to New York Drazah, and he's not going to go to Toronto Drazah, we can be sure about that. So, you know, I think Thieves are actually a real top destination here this offseason, but obviously, ideally, they'd like to keep Ghosty, but that may be easier said than done. So, very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.